Pride Month spooktacular. Pride versus Palestine. Philly was the big one.
Yeah, there'll be more. I mean, we're only 4 days into the month.
There's going to be lots more. And one thing is that not a lot of companies have gone all in as much as they did before.
I mean, sports teams are like kind of pumping the brakes on this stuff.
That's what my point is. It seems like probably a 30% pump since 4 years ago. Probably seems like a 10% pump since last year.
Well, like even I saw something today, like something about the Maple Leafs, and then the Maple Leafs, which were big on the Pride stuff, but then the NHL, like I don't know if you remember that player was like, I don't want to wear the
dildo in my ass
or whatever, and then the NHL, and it became such a scandal, and then this one player went and did the tape even though you weren't allowed to, and then they go, it's fine, but we're not going to make teams do it anymore. They can like the players could do it, and the teams have not even been posting about it.
I know,
which is weird because they would have been like fucking.
Or there's a few of them that did it like they did it like the Berkshire Hathaway thing. It was there and it was gone.
Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, it used to be like that was their.
And then you go, you didn't post. You go, we did from 9 to 9:01.
Yeah, 9:01.
What do you mean?
It just, I guess, glitched out and got deleted. I don't know.
It does feel like that. I was actually looking at the Pride, the Palestine.
What?
Spit it out, Junior. The Palestine versus Pride, I guess you would call it, fights or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the same thing happened with like the BLM back in the day. And then it also happened in Toronto. Yeah, it's happened a lot of times where they basically set up the Pride Parade and they kind of make it like the race thing, right?
Yeah.
And the race thing.
They go, our thing's more important than your thing.
And then also it does work because everyone who's in the like gay community has said I'm for every cause. They're like all the intersectional people. So they go, well, if you are, you go, I'm a gay guy and I'm really for every single cause. So you wouldn't mind us taking over your parade then? Go, I guess not.
I go, you guys have your parade every year. There's going to be no Palestinians alive next year. So this is important. We do this now.
But there were some Jewish gays that weren't liking it. And I was looking at some of the articles, and the one thing I saw was there's a forum called Are Jewish.
Yeah.
And Are Jewish, the gay guys weren't happy.
No.
So there's a lot of gay guys in Are Jewish being like, what the fuck is this shit?
What does this have to do with anything?
Yeah, so there was some gays that were just like, fuck this, I'm not going anymore. They can suck in my dick.
They can suck my dick in a glory hole.
You know what's the interesting part, though? Because, people always sort of, I think Kurt made when he was here, but I mean, I did Jimmy Dore's podcast and we sort of talked about this too. And it was like the idea that, because there's a lot of gay guys, and the argument is like, okay, but yeah, they wouldn't even let you be gay in Palestine, right?
Yeah.
And he was kind of like, so I guess we should kill them then?
Yeah, of course, obviously.
So I actually do get the idea that a lot of people, it's like, there's not really like hypocrisy in gay guys being for that. Mm-hmm. However, it is still funny. Like, for example, if I was saying that, okay, my whole deal is that there should be no borders and everyone should come in here. And then there was this huge group of like a million people in Mexico, and their whole platform was, we want to kill podcasters.
Right.
And every day my whole thing was, let these guys in. That would be like, it would be like funny to note that you've made that your whole thing is these guys that hate you. So there is just something about it that whenever it's someone that their whole deal is jumping on every cause du jour, and this new cause du jour, if this was people in Texas, for example, you would literally be saying they're the devil and they should die.
Right.
But because they're over there and they're not white, also, like you kind of are, you have to find your spot where you sit.
Yeah, and these queers for Palestine, they don't want to go to Palestine. Like, they're not...
That's the other thing,
Yeah, they're like, we're not interested in going there. We just don't want them killed.
Right. But there is something funny about the cause du jour just, like, lining up with, like, a group of, like, right-wing people that wouldn't like you.
Sure, yeah.
Whereas, like, these people would probably pick, like, your average conservative in Texas and be like, this guy is the devil, and you're like, he's much more left-wing than this guy that you are promoting, for example, right?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of funniness there, I guess, not hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's not, like, an insane hypocrisy. I never thought it was that. Like, everybody's like, oh, don't they know what they'll do to you? And you're like, yeah, one, they don't care. Two, they don't plan on going there. So
exactly.
Yeah.
But okay, here's probably of part of the Pride spooktacular. Here's my favorite first thing. So this is a good one someone sent me. So neurodivergence is queer. You cannot be neurodiversity affirming if you are queerphobic. Got it? It says exclamation point.
Okay.
Autistic teens and adults are 8 times more likely to be identified as queer.
For sure.
A little saying the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like the furries and the trans people are more likely to be autistic. And
it is. And a part of that is that, like, especially with girls, when girls trans to guys, like, it's like making them more autistic. It's like, oh, my brain's working more like a guy's. Maybe I am a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I kind of feel like I'm more of a guy, and you're like, because I have all this like logical brain,
fixate logic and stuff.
Fixating logic and stuff. That is so like funny though if you actually think about it. Like that is what's happening.
Kind of.
With a lot of the girls that trans the guys. They're just like, I'm so fucking logically oriented. That must be in the wrong body.
I mean, if you ever see any non-binary guy, like any guy who's non-binary, you're like, yeah, that guy's fucking autistic. Like he hit a fork in the road where this guy could be like locked in a basement playing like fucking video games, and he just
or he could be a chick,
or but not. Well, they're not chicks. They're just non-binary.
Okay, non-binary.
They're still dudes just with like in a dress or something.
Yeah, I was reading about non-binary. So basically, what happened is they were cursed by a gypsy, and they also, if you never see their pants, are always full of shit and piss because normal bathrooms are for boys or girls, and
they're just walking around with just inflated diapers, giant diapers.
I think what happens when you're non-binary is you basically have like a guy devil on one shoulder that's like, come on, man, be a fucking dude, and then a girl is like, where are we gonna eat? I can't decide.
Yeah, they're just. And then eventually the guy goes, I am kind of hungry. Where are we going to eat?
He goes, you shut up.
Yeah, he goes, I can't decide either. And you're just like, ah!
That's what being non-binary. But the neurodivergent thing is, of all the things, my point kind of originally that I was making, whereas it always is getting overrun by other stuff. Like the rainbow is like, they've really added a lot of stuff in there. They're like, what's that sign for there? You're like, oh, that's lumberjacks. Like they just everything's in there now,
I will say that like the Pride people, they made up so much ground so fast. Like they're not really fighting for anything anymore, to be honest.
No, it's supposed to be a party.
It's supposed to be a party, but it didn't start as a party. It started as like, hey.
Oh, it started as a party.
But I'm saying like the original ones in like the.
You been there?
No. I'm talking about like in the 70s or like 80s when it was like literally they're like, hey, you know,
we want to get married. We stop giving us AIDS.
They're like, stop like disowning us because we're gay, and like, you know, we'd like to just be openly gay without like, you know, our lives being substantially worse. And like we have got to that point. Like it used to be where like, you know, it was a big deal.